Hey guys, Kevin for 11/22/63, episode 7, Soldier Boy, and I was definitely looking forward to this episode, knowing it was the penultimate episode, especially because I didn't really know what was going to happen in this episode, and the stakes in the show are just getting so much higher, and especially the way last week's episode left off. I didn't really know how this episode was going to play out, and this, I think, was probably my favorite episode this season. I mean, as much as the series, as much as I love last week's episode, like I said, it was an amazing episode. I think this definitely was the strongest episode yet. It definitely made me excited for the finale. I can't wait to see how things play out there. And also, the way this episode was done, this was a much differently structured episode than the rest of the show, which we'll all get into. But let's just get into this episode. There's a lot to get into in this episode, but let's just get into it. So, as we know, in the last episode, Jake ended up with this memory loss, and we don't really know what happened, but he wakes up in this modern hospital, and it's really weird because he's kind of seeing present and the past at the same time. Like, he sees Anderson Cooper on the TV. Christy comes in, remember his ex-wife that he divorced in the first episode. She asks Jake if something's wrong. He asks her what year it is. She kisses him on the forehead, goes to find the doctor. Jake is surprised to discover that the doctor is Al, which he's saying that there's no way that it's actually Al. And that's the thing, you don't really know if is this actually a hallucination or is he actually seeing Al, because we know that Al is kind of like the doc, where he provided him with hints, basically, and Jake figures it's a hallucination, wants to stop it, but Al says they don't always get what they want. He tells Jake that he's been disappointed in him because he involved Bill and Sadie. Al starts coughing up blood, and he says that Jake is only thinking of himself, and he's doing exactly what Al told him not to do. And honestly, I think this was the perfect time for Jake to see Al, because Al needed to remind him, look, I told you straight out, you can't, you can't just befriend anyone, you can't be close to anyone. That's something I told you, right off the bat. That was something that, Al told him that he can't do. And that's exactly what Jake is doing, and Al, of course, doesn't want him to do that. So I love the way that was started. Basically, Jake calls for Sadie. He sees a hospital room as it is in 1963. Sadie comes over, says that she's there, explains that Jake has been drifting in and out for days. Deke is there, so that he's seen similar memory problems in football players when they were tackled too hard. The principal warns that it could be a couple of weeks until Jake gets back to normal, but at least he's out of medical danger, and you can see he kind of knows what's going on. Like, he knows Sadie's his wife, but there are a lot of details that he doesn't know. And I really think James Franco did a good job with not just playing, not out of it, an out of it Jake, but also kind of a cautious Jake. Like, I think he knows that something is going to happen. There's this part of him that knows something's going to happen. And even though he is acting the way he is in this episode, I thought he did a very good job with that. So we see then we take place 15 days until assassination, which the clock moves very fast in this episode. But I understand when they need to do that. We needed to get to 11/22/63, and that's exactly what this episode does. We go from January to November like that, and basically we're going to have 15 days until the the 11th, not January, I don't know what I'm talking about. 17 days to assassination to 15 days until assassination. Sadie takes Jake out in a wheelchair, reviews what he told her before he was beaten. He doesn't remember everything from his own time, but he remembers that he was close to whoever was going to kill JFK. He doesn't know who that was exactly, but Jake can't remember the address or Bill's name. So there are definitely things that he remembers key events, but he doesn't remember names, and he doesn't remember dates either, which is very interesting. I like the way they did that, because this wasn't just Jake forgetting everything. No, that'd be stupid if Jake just randomly forgot everything. What they did do is have Jake remember some things, but didn't remember other things, and I thought they handled that really well, and I definitely enjoyed that. So then we go to 10 days until the assassination. We're now on 11/12/63. We see Oswald storms the Dallas FBI office and demands to see Hosty, and I gotta say, this was definitely the episode where we saw how intimidating and just how big of a presence Oswald can be, because like I said, the one thing I think the show hasn't done perfectly is fully develop Oswald, but in these past two episodes, I really think they're trying to develop more, and especially this one, you definitely see why he would end up turning on JFK. You definitely see that. He storms the Dallas FBI office, demands to see Hosty. He accuses Hosty of harassing his wife and bugging his home, because remember, he thinks the FBI are the ones responsible, and the receptionist, Mrs. Emily Baker, says that Hosty isn't there. Oswald figures that they know everything about him and takes Baker's name. He writes a report, tells Baker to give it to Hosty, and then storms out. So he pretty much thinks that the FBI is after him, which obviously is not going on. Of course, it was Bill and Jake, but he doesn't know that, and I think it's good that Oswald doesn't know that. It adds some interesting stuff for his character. I like that Oswald kind of doesn't really know what's going on, and I like the way that they're handling this. Like I said, they could have easily gone this direction where Oswald finds out what's going on with Jake and Bill, but I like it more that he doesn't, because we just see how menacing he can be from this, and obviously, Jake's not going to get killed or anything. So I like the way that was done. At the hospital, Sadie's helping Jake pack. Jake wonders why Bill isn't there, and Sadie reminds him that they had an argument, which of course, we know things are really bad between Jake and Bill. And however, on the phone, Jake told her that Bill was safe, and Deke then comes in with painkillers, and Jake remembers that he's married to Mimi, and Sadie explains that Mimi passed while Jake was unconscious, and Deke has Jake signed, which we find out that Deke and Mimi are now married, which I thought was interesting, but Sadie explains that Mimi passed while Jake was unconscious, and Mimi is unfortunately now passed away, we find out, which is very sad, but we knew it was coming. I mean, the second she said, I have cancer, I knew that Mimi was going to die. Deke has now Jake signed the release papers. When he does, Jake remembers that he had Bill committed, and I like the way this was done. The way that Jake just slowly started to remember things I definitely like, and Jake now knows that Bill is in the insane asylum. So they go to the asylum where the patients who can't pay are kept, and Dr. Densborough explains that Bill was transferred there when Jake seemingly disappeared, and they've been giving Bill electroshock therapy. Now, I know a lot of people didn't like Bill's character. I know a lot of people have said that Bill is ruining the show and that Bill's really annoying. And yeah, he's made some really stupid decisions, definitely. I think a lot of the things he's done have not been the wisest, definitely. But you have to remember that Bill, Bill did not set out to do this. It's something that Jake set out to do. He had all this information, and while Jake tried to give some of it to him, there are some things that Bill just won't understand. Here, though, I thought it made a lot more sense because he's basically under lobotomy here. He's under lobotomy, he's going crazy, and you know what lobotomy does to you. I mean, you guys seen it in movies and TV shows. Lobotomy makes you kind of crazy. It really does. And crazier than usual. Because Jake explains he was in the hospital and an orderly brings Bill in. Bill remembers Jake, but is in a vague state because of the electroshocks, and he keeps saying, you're not real, there's no way you're real. Like, Bill basically has been, told that Jake is a figment of his imagination, which is very interesting. I don't necessarily know how that works, but I guess they just kind of thought that. And Jake and Sadie talked to Bill privately. Jake explains what happened to him. He asks Bill to remember what they were doing, because he doesn't remember what they were doing together, and Bill refuses to give him an answer because of the fact that he doesn't think he's real, saying that it'll shock him if he starts talking about the future again, and it's clear that they think he's crazy, which, if you remember, he had that whole thing where he's like, oh, he's not my brother, it's the future and everything. They think he's crazy. They've now shocked him. And when Jake asked him to be his friend, Bill says that he had a friend, that a friend wouldn't have had him committed, and that he definitely is not his friend. And in many ways, yeah, that's true. Jake and Bill are not friends anymore. You know that for a fact. I mean, they've kind of been friends, but in many ways, Bill's shown Jake why he can't be trustworthy. So it makes sense why this happened to Bill. Densborough returns the release papers. Jake signed them. Sadie goes over to join him. When she looks back, sees Bill jump out the window, jumps to his death, and Bill commits suicide, which I kind of saw coming, honestly. The way that Bill was acting here, you could tell that something was definitely going to happen. I was just thinking Bill was going to be one of the characters that died anyway. I didn't think he died this early, but wow, honestly, I thought it was a very effective death. I thought it really did make sense, and it's not a huge thing because of the fact that, like I said, Jake didn't really need Bill. He's kind of better with Sadie. Sadie knows what he's doing. She's very intelligent, and Bill just wasn't. That was the problem. Bill just didn't listen to Jake. He wanted to do his own thing, and that's basically why he died. So we're going to go to 8 days after the assassination. Jake and Sadie then attend Bill's funeral, watch from a distance. Sadie lays lilies on Bill's grave, and Jake escorts her away. And we don't need to see any more than that. That's really all we need to see. We then go to 7 days until assassination, and all we see here is at home, Jake is taking his painkillers. We don't know what else is going on, but I thought that was really good that we saw that. And getting back to Bill's death, though, like I said, I think it was worthwhile. I know a lot of people said that, oh, it just came out of nowhere and that was very abrupt. Yeah, it was abrupt, but that was kind of the point. It was kind of supposed to show that Bill is just, he's going crazy, and at this point, if he kills himself, I don't think Jake really cares. He knows he needs to move forward. He knows he doesn't really need Bill. In many ways, he just had Bill because he wanted to help him. That's really, if you remember, the main reason why Jake went with Bill, because he wanted to help him. He wanted to give him this better life. He promised him all these things, and it just didn't happen. Bill didn't listen to him. Bill was stubborn. He developed this, very big crush on Marina. Marina clearly liked him. That didn't really go anywhere. And, that's just why Jake and Bill just didn't work out, unfortunately, which really sucks, but unfortunately, things just didn't work out between them. So then we go to 6 days after the assassination, and Jake is looking at photos at his time in high school, including when he and Sadie danced, and Sadie's having coffee with Deke, and I loved this scene. I thought this was a great scene here. She tells him that Jake doesn't want to be helped, and that he doesn't really want to do anything. Like, he doesn't seem like he wants to move forward. And you're kind of wondering, is Jake actually going to move forward with this whole investigation? And when she pushes him, he gets angry. Deke figures that Jake is going to do everything he can to avoid admitting that he's lost, because he is, and tells Sadie that she can't give up because she's Jake's only way back. And of course, Sadie knows a lot more that's going on with Jake than Deke does, but at the same time, I mean, Jake's just not acting like himself. He's acting very destructive. He's acting like he doesn't know who she is, and they've just never really seen the side of Jake before, and they don't really know how to deal with it. And that's something I thought they handled really well here. is that Sadie doesn't really know how to handle what's happening with Jake because she's never seen the side of him, and in many ways this isn't the Jake she knows. She's known Jake to be a lot different than this. This is just not how he acts. So 5 days until assassination, Jake is lying on the couch, and by the way, let me just say, the skips in time I thought worked really well because we saw everything we need to see in that day. You can tell as the days are going on, nothing's really progressing in Jake's life for a while. For a while, it's just kind of like skipping through time, and nothing's really happening much. No, nothing that monumental happens until we get to 3 days until the assassination, where most of the episode takes place. But basically, Jake is lying on the couch. Shay reads a newspaper article about how JFK is coming to Dallas in 3 days. None of the cities he's visiting rings a bell with Jake, and Sadie keeps pushing Jake to remember, but he pushes her away, takes more painkillers. He tells her to back off. Sadie angrily agrees, tells him to stay on the couch and take his pills, and she reminds Jake that a man is going to be murdered, and he's the only one who can do anything about it. And Jake flushes the pills down the sink, and then tells Sadie to repeat everything he said to her on the phone that night that he was beaten, and the light finally just goes off him. He realizes what he's doing. He knows something's starting to go on. He's starting to figure out really why he's there because Jake really was struggling with what's going on. And I think it's kind of what was going on with Allie. He was kind of in this void between the past and the present, and that's really what was happening. In Jake's mind, he was in both the past and present. He was very confused with what was going on, and now that Sadie said that, he's like, oh shit, that's why I'm here, and he's realizing his purpose, and I really love the way that that was done. So, Oswald returns home, Margaret worries about him, and a lot of people said the scene was very unnecessary, but I think it's trying to show why Oswald is going to do something as drastic as he does, because Margaret worries about him. She said that he shouldn't have bothered the FBI, shows him a report card he received in the 2nd grade saying that he has potential, and Margaret says she wanted Oswald to be happy, asks what happened to her little boy. Oswald says that he's still there, and they basically get this conversation about Oswald has done nothing that great. He hasn't really done anything that anyone remembers. He's not really that memorable, and that kind of shows why he's going to end up killing JFK and why he's going to be the one to try to do it, because he wants to do something with his life. He wants to do something memorable, and his mom wants him to do that, and I think Oswald wants that as well. He's not really getting to do anything he wants. I mean, he got this job, but it didn't really do anything. His relationship's kind of gone down the toilet a bit, and definitely things aren't really good for Oswald right now. So I like the way that scene was done. The actor that played him, I think did a really good job. 4 days until the assassination, Lee sits in the park, see the discard newspaper with a headline about JFK arriving in Texas. And after reading the article, Oswald looks at the children playing in the park. After a moment, he tosses the newspaper in the garbage, walks away whistling, and he just did a great job in this scene. He's not supposed to come across necessarily as menacing, more like motivate. He's like, that is what I'm going to do. That is how I'm going to change things in life, and he's pissed at the FBI, and he's also, I think, a bit pissed at JFK, because he's the president. I think he kind of, is a bit jealous of the president. Like, he's thinking, the president is this big man, he's done all these great things, why can't I be like that? I think that's kind of what it is. Why can't I be like the president? Why can't I be as popular as he is? Why can't I be as loved as he is? Because he's not. He's just some guy that no one really thinks much of, and he wants to be a lot more than that, you can see, which I really like seeing, and I think they really handled that really well. That's the thing I think they did really well this episode, is really have us sympathize with Oswald, which is something I think they've tried to do but haven't, and this episode I think they've really did very well. Like, I think we really now understand why Oswald's going to kill JFK. It's not because he wants to be a murderer. It's because he wants to do something monumental with his life, and the man that he's jealous of, he feels like is his duty to kill him. I think that's really what's going on through his head. So then we go to 3 days until the assassination. Deke comes over, Sadie shows him how to dance the Madison time, and Jake, listening, remembers that he lived on Madison, and I like that. And then we get to 2 days after assassination, and this is really when the episode starts to pick up. I can understand if you guys didn't love those skips in time, but like I said, I think it was supposed to show that just things were going by, nothing was really happening, and then finally something big happens. Something actually happens in Jake's life. He remembers what his purpose is, and I love the way that this scene was done. I thought this was very well done, because just in one little detail, Jake just pretty much remembers everything that's going on with him, and I love that. So Jake and Sadie drive to Madison Street in Dallas. They start canvassing houses to find someone who knows Jake, and he finally sees a house and vaguely remembers it. And the woman living there refuses to let them in, slams the door in their faces. They go upstairs, and Oswald recognizes Jake. Remember, this is where Jake and Bill lived, but now, of course, they don't live there anymore. So Oswald recognizes Jake. He explains that they were neighbors, and Jake and Bill disappeared a month ago. He thinks, he doesn't know that Bill actually died, but Oswald then recognizes Jake, and the way this scene was done, I love, because Oswald's not really thinking of Jake as anything. He just thinks that he's his neighbor, he doesn't think much of it, and Sadie explains that Jake was being unconscious. Jake claims that Bill went back to Kentucky, and Jake finally remembers who Oswald is. He excuses himself to get some water, and the scene where Jake realizes who this is, that this is the man that he needs to kill, is just incredible, because he's finally realizing, I'm supposed to kill this man. This is not someone I should converse with, I need to kill him. He literally takes out a kitchen knife, goes back to the living room. Oswald brings out Junie out. Jake hides the knife. Very close call, and I really thought something was going to happen there, but it doesn't, and I understand they're waiting to the finale. I get that. They're waiting to the finale. They're waiting for things to happen, and this episode was really about Jake just remembering what he set out to do. So when Jake and Sadie leave, Jake doesn't tell Sadie what he's remembered. Sadie says they'll come back the next day to talk to the neighbors, and Jake thanks her for everything that she's done for him. And back in Jody, Jake says that he needs to lie down until dinner. However, Jake sneaks out and goes into his car, only to find Sadie waiting in it, because she knows that he lied to her. She knows that, and Jake says he was trying to protect her. Sadie demands the truth, and finally he admits that Oswald is JFK's killer, and he refuses to lose her like he lost Bill, but Sadie points out that Jake would never have found Oswald without her, and insists on going. She feels that they need to do this together. He can't just do this alone, which I kind of see her point, that in many ways, no, they can't really do this alone. Even though I think she wants to do this alone, they can't really do this alone. I mean, she kind of needs him there, which I like the way this was done. I definitely really enjoyed that. I thought they did a very good job with that, and like I said, I think that was definitely very well done. But basically, Jake suggests they go to Ruth Payne's house where Oswald kept his rifle and steal it so that he can't shoot the president, because obviously he wants to get to that rifle, and if he doesn't have it, then he doesn't want to, he doesn't have to kill him, which I think that's interesting that Jake's kind of looking at other options that doesn't involve him killing Oswald, because I think we want Jake to kill Oswald. I think we do. We want him to change some things, but by not killing Oswald, does that mean that JFK gets killed by someone else? I mean, that kind of makes me interested in, if he doesn't kill Oswald, what ends up happening? Does he kill Oswald another day? I mean, that really doesn't do much of anything, because if Oswald doesn't get the gun, he'll just buy another one. That's what's going to happen, and it's not really going to work. So I think Jake needs to understand that while this is a good plan, it's not really going to work. So at home, Oswald visits Marina at Ruth's house, says that he wants to back to the way that it was in Minsk, and she says that she wants a new life, and one where Oswald doesn't slap her, because he was very abusive, and Marina tells Oswald that she deserves better, she's gonna get it. The baby cries. Marina tells Oswald that she'll deal with her, and you can just sort of tell that she doesn't really want much to do with him. He's abusing her, and she just doesn't want that. She doesn't want to be abused. She wants to be loved, and, Bill gave her that love. That was the thing. Bill gave her love. Bill showed her a side of someone that she hadn't seen before, and that's really what she wants to see from Oswald, and she's just not getting that. And I don't think it's that Oswald doesn't love her. I think he took out a lot of his aggression on her, definitely, and that definitely was what it was about. Definitely, I thought that was very well handled, and I definitely enjoyed that. And I think, again, they really showed that Marina, that Oswald isn't a terrible guy. He's made some mistakes, but Marina does, I think, care about him. She just can't be with him right now. So Jake and Sadie knock on Ruth's house. When she answers, Jake claims he's a friend of Oswald's. Ruth remembers him from Oswald's birthday party, and Jake claims that he's a co-worker, and Oswald asks Jake to meet him there. When the woman refuses to get Marina, Sadie intervenes, says that Oswald got some curtain rods for her, and Jake says that they're wrapped in paper and stored in the garage, and you can really see that he does need Sadie. I mean, Sadie's gonna help him with a lot of things, and Ruth then takes him to the garage, but they don't find the rifle, because obviously Oswald's already gotten to it. Definitely, that's what I was assuming, at least. He already has it. But Jake and Sadie then park across from the depository. Jake figures that the next morning he'll tackle Oswald, claiming that he heard him threaten JFK. He warns that the past will try to stop them, just as an officer knocks at the window, which, yeah, the past's gonna try to stop. So the officer figures that they're Kennedy fans, but he has to keep the streets clean, orders them to move on, and if you guys know, JFK is, one of the most loved presidents of all time. He had tons of fans. People went crazy for him. I mean, this wasn't, uncommon. Definitely, this was something that was really big and happened a lot, and everyone really knew who JFK was, and I think they really handled that really well. I definitely really enjoyed that. So basically, we see lightning flat. We see, basically after this, Sadie dozes off, and I like the way. So basically, Jake drives off and parks nearby so that they don't take any chances. And as they wait, Sadie asks about Jake's friends and family in the future. He said that he doesn't meet them, and everything he's met is in the past, which it's very interesting. He's saying he doesn't met them, like, kind of like maybe he doesn't know them or he doesn't remember them, and that's kind of making me think when he goes back, he's not going to remember his friends, which he clearly remembers Al, but he doesn't really remember anyone else, which is interesting, definitely, especially with what he did for Harry. Is he going to remember any of that? I mean, we don't really know. So Sadie dozes off, the overhead light flickers, it stops after a moment, and the yellow card man appears where Sadie was sleeping, and as it starts raining, Jake wonders why the man is following him, because all of a sudden the yellow card man is there, and I've said it before, the yellow card man is really a sign to show Jake that things aren't going to work, and he obviously wants to know why he's following him. Now, I heard in the book, the yellow card man's kind of like this keeper of the future, and kind of like he holds the key to make sure the future goes the way it is and nothing changes, but it seems like they're going in a different direction here, kind of like the yellow card man's kind of just like a warning, and the man is following him. The man says he doesn't want any of it to happen again, describes how his daughter drowned in a pool when he looked away for a minute. He's gone back again and again to save his daughter, but something is always in the way. All he can do is watch her drown over and over and over again, but he can't stand by and let her die. The man warns that the past can't be changed, and Jake says that it's different, but the man tells him to go home. Which in many ways, yeah, Jake was able to change things. I mean, what happened with Harry? His father, is dead, and, in turn, Harry's family is not dead. So there is that. But does that mean that Harry goes through the same situation? We don't really know. I think what the man's saying is, though, even though if Jake does try to change things, like, let's say that he does kill Oswald, and Oswald doesn't kill Kennedy, someone else is going to kill Kennedy, definitely. There's going to be someone else that kills him, and Jake just can't stop that from happening. It's a significant event in history. It's something he can't stop, and I think that's really what this yellow card man is saying, that even though he wants to change things, maybe some things won't be able to be changed, and lightning flashes, the yellow card man disappears, and I love the way that scene was done, because we don't really know what he's talking about, if this has to do with what Jake wants to do, or if this is something completely different, but it's really good setup for next week. Is Jake really going to be able to kill the yellow card man, even though he wants to, kill Oswald? He doesn't want to kill the yellow card man. Maybe he does, but he wants to kill Oswald, obviously. Is he going to be able to do that? We'll have to see. I can't wait to see the way that plays out, because it's going to be really interesting, definitely. I can't wait to see the way that happens. So lightning flashes, the yellow card man disappears, Sadie's back, she wakes up, and Jake suggests that they just let events play out, and they go back to Jody and raise a family, and Sadie tells them that they can't, because Jake came there for a reason. They can't just move on, and he wants to start a life with her. Like he said, he just wants to get married, and now it's her reason to, and she's gonna, wherever he goes, she goes. That's kind of just how it is, and she doesn't care why he's there. She doesn't care what he's doing. She just wants to stick by him. She loves him, and she'll do whatever she can to help him, and I love seeing that. But the problem is, Sadie has no idea about the yellow card man, and what if they don't change anything? Again, it's a very interesting subject, and I can't wait to see the way that plays out, because maybe they won't change anything. I don't really know, but I'm very interested in seeing what happens there. We then go 4 hours until the assassination, which we are very close to when Oswald's about to kill Kennedy. The next morning, Jake and Sadie wake up. They try to drive off. The car's not starting, and Jake realizes that the past is pushing back, just like the yellow card man says something is getting in the way. He leads Sadie off, saying that they have to go. Marina wakes up in her bed, finds Oswald sitting on the bed, and she suggests that they go to the zoo together, but Oswald tells her that he has a job. Marina says she might be ready to talk about the two of them together, asks him to stay, and Oswald's ride bull Fraser honks his horn outside. Oswald goes out, gets the package with a rifle, tells Marina to kiss the girls from, and leaves. And I don't know if this is trying to show that maybe they do have a life, maybe they'll have something. We don't really know. We'll have to see what happens there, but I'm definitely interested in seeing if anything really does happen there, because that's going to be interesting, and if maybe something does happen. That's really what I'm interested in, seeing if maybe something does happen, or maybe Marina and Oswald do have a chance. We'll have to see, but I definitely liked the way that was done. Definitely really good. We then see Jake and Sadie look for a car to hotwire. They finally found an unlocked car and drive off, ready to kill Oswald. That's how we end things. We go 3.5 hours of the assassination. Oswald arrives at the depository with Buell, and he says that their boss said that they could go watch JFK's motorcade when it arrives. The assassin points out that he's a Marxist and is going to work, and he's clearly talking about Karl Marx. I think that's who he's talking about. And once he's inside, Oswald goes up to the 6th floor. Whistling, he makes sure that no one's around, opens the window, sets sets up a shooter's post from boxes. He takes out his rifle, loads it, waits for the motorcade to arrive, and he's just waiting for the moment when he's about to kill JFK, and that is how this episode ends, and I am so pumped for the finale, guys. Such a good ending and such a great episode. I love the way this episode was done, and like I said, I mean, this episode, yes, it was very much setting things up, but it really showed how we're going to get there. I mean, is Jake really going to change anything? That's a genuine thing. I mean, is he really going to change things? You know, even though he's going to try to kill, even if he kills Oswald, does that mean that JFK lives? I mean, we don't really know. There could be someone else there that wants him dead. I don't really know what's going to happen there, but I'm definitely interested in seeing if Jake does get to kill Oswald, and what impact will this have? I mean, will this really change anything if he does kill him? Because we don't know if, you know, anything will change here, if this will really do much of anything. I'm definitely interested in seeing what happens there, and that by far is the thing I'm most interested in. Out of anything, I can't wait to see how that plays out, because that's going to be really incredible, and I can't wait to see what happens there. So definitely really interesting stuff there. Oswald and Marina, do they have a chance together? I don't really know. I think this is kind of hinting that maybe they still have a chance, or there's something like that in there, but I don't really know. We'll have to see what happens. I can't wait to see what happens with Oswald and Marina. If they do have a chance, definitely that's going to be very interesting. But also Jake and Sadie. I mean, clearly Jake wants to settle down with Sadie, and you have to wonder, is he going to get to do that? Is he going to go back to the present? That's really something that I'm wondering, is what's going to happen after Jake does this? I mean, is he going to go back to the present? Is he going to stay with Sadie? Is he maybe going to take Sadie to the present with him? I mean, she kind of belongs in the 60s, so how is this really going to work? I mean, I don't really know what's going to happen there. Al is clearly mad at him. Al does not want anything to do with him, and I do think that in the beginning when we saw Al, that was genuinely seeing Al. Like, Al found a way to communicate with him. I kind of feel like that's possible to do. I mean, there are ways to do that in time travel. I feel like Al might have done that, and we'll have to see what happens there. But as we know, when Jake gets back, it'll only be 2 minutes. That's just how it is. You know, it's only going to be 2-minute difference and things like that. But when Jake gets back, the entire thing's going to be erased. So is Jake actually going to go back to the present? Is he ever going to see that life again? And like Jake said, he doesn't remember anything from the present. All that matters to him is what he's done in the past. He's become so attached to the past, he's completely forgot about the present, I think. And I don't know if that's going to work out in his favor, because in the sense that we know that obviously this could end up really bad for him. But we'll have to see what happens there. I'm definitely interested in seeing what happens if Jake does get back to the past. And then the yellow card man, what's his deal? Is he just trying to tell Jake that he's not going to change anything, and that this isn't really going to do much of anything? I don't really know, but I'm definitely interested in seeing what that has to, you know, what the yellow card man is really saying, what he's really trying to say to Jake. That definitely really interests me. I can't wait to see what happens there. But overall, guys, amazing episode. Absolutely love this episode. Like I said, it was pretty much setting things up, but it was very well done. I love the skips in time in this episode, because it really just showed that Jake really wasn't doing much of anything, but then finally realized his purpose. He's now set out to kill Oswald. How is the past going to push back? Clearly, the past is already fucking with him with not letting him get a car, but what else is going to happen? Is Oswald going to get to kill JFK? Will Jake change anything? I mean, these are things I'm definitely interested in. I can't believe we're already on the finale next week. I can't believe it, but we are in the finale next week, and it looks crazy as hell. Like, the promo looked awesome. I can't wait to see what happens, definitely. Is Sadie possibly going to help Jake? I mean, I also have this theory that maybe that means that Jake won't change anything, but that doesn't mean that anyone else will. Like, maybe Sadie will be the one to change something, and Jake won't, because Jake can't change anything. I don't really know. Maybe that's why Sadie needs to stick by Jake. But remember, Jake is from the present, and Sadie's not. So maybe that's why. I don't really know. Definitely interesting. We'll have to see what happens there. I don't really know what's going to happen. I'm definitely interested in seeing what's going to happen with that. But overall, guys, amazing episode. Definitely really loved it. Can't wait for the finale. Great way to set up the last episode. I can't wait to see what happens in the finale. Let me know what you guys saw this episode. We'll see you guys in my next video, which will be either for one of 4 things. I don't know what it's going to be. It's either going to be Awkward, Arrow, Ain't a Shield, or Better Call Saul. I don't know which one, but I will see you guys for that. Okay, bye.